After waking up with a jolt, the little girl laid in bed a few seconds longer, reaching over to switch on her bedside lamp. She tried to remember exactly what had stolen her sweet slumber away. When she couldn't, the brunette swung her legs over the side of the bed and heaved herself up. Checking the time on her phone, she snored when she saw it. It was midnight, the witching hour. Knowledge that sleep would only evade her when she left her room for the kitchen, a good cup of coffee on her mind as she passed by her front door. A chill spread like liquid fire down on her spine. It's only winter, she told herself, focusing again on the coffee plan. Measuring out scoops, water, and preparing cup kept her acute. But as the dark liquid boiled, she had nothing left to keep her mind from wandering off. The chill returned, and she couldn't help but glance behind her to the front door. It stood there, innocently enough, just always, the deadbolt just still in place, and could see nothing amiss with it. Turned back to her coffee, she did her best to forget about the feelings. With her cup in hand, she stared back towards her bedroom. As she walked by the front door, she decided that the quick glance of her peephole would help calm her restless mind. The chill worsened which each step she took towards her empty hand against the cold metal door, and took a deep breath before leading her eye to the peephole. At first, she could only see an inky blackness, and somehow it seemed swirl in itself. When she was blinked in surprise, a void melted away. She wished it hadn't. In its place, there stood what she could only guess she was a man. The limbs were long and humanity awkward. The bulky joints branched off into the arm's knot, and unlike the other branches of the tree, the creature was draped in a black suit, somehow making the thing more nightmarish to her. The icing on the proverbial cake, however, it was that past the hellish thing's face. It was through her mind, and blurred in the ghastly visage, it too spared itself further shock and horror. She shoved herself away from the door, and the hand still pressed against it. The scaled mug of the coffee fell. The liquid burned her bare legs, and as she fell backwards and tried to crawl away from the door, she knew somehow that her mind hadn't been played tricks on her. As she crawled away from the door, she watched drowned as black as the void. She first saw a snake around the cracks, and the girl trapped between, insists to flee in the gut to not turn her back on the door. When the door jolted, the urge to flee overcame her, and she slipped in the burning liquid as she tried to make it back to her room. She knew deep down that she was trapped herself in a corner, but she had to get away from the door. The girl was halfway down when she heard a previously locked door creak open. She screamed and slipped into the wall, cracking her chin and stunning her. After that, it was only blackness. Nicole, a warm male voice snapped out the woman out of her trance. As she turned around, she was met by one of her sister's doctors. She nodded, if not sure if she should say anything, or even if she could find her voice, if she can have something to say. That morning, she had gotten an urgent phone from the hospital saying that her sister Lindsay was there. Before they had came even let her see her, the doctors had pulled her off to the side and insisted that they talk to her about what might have happened. Phrases like self-infection and assault as had been thrown around, and Nicole felt her mind reel. She still hadn't fully understood what they had been saying until she had saw Lindsay with her own eyes. Her little sister had a bandage wrapped around her head and covering both of her ears and as well her eyes. They could said it was kept by her now deadened eyes and from drying out to keep infection out of the wounds as Lindsay had made for her ears, and the doctor guessed that either she or someone had jammed a pencil into the keep her balance and defend herself against something. There was a mix of first and second degree burns on her hands, legs, feet, from what assumed to be coffee her neighbors found slipped all over the entire apartment. As Nicole walked into her sister's room, hospital for the first time, she thought she spied the sound that she knew it was impossible. In her sister's room, she was on the third story of the hospital.